So now we're going to do a quick demo on the Xero software. Just going to do a quick overview of it. Okay, so just give a quick overview of Xero, and so this is the screen that you'd see when you first log in, and this is just the dashboard which you'd see. So down the left-hand side you have your bank account and cash flow information, and on the right-hand side we've got an account watch list. So if there's certain accounts within your software that you want to keep an eye on, you can add them onto your watch list. So this one's got advertising and entertainment, and it's showing this month and year-to-date figures for specific accounts. It's quite good for business owners if they just want to have a quick snapshot of specific accounts. Down here we've got invoices owed to you, and this is just a quick cash flow based on the due date of those sales invoices of when you are expecting to receive this money in. And then down here we've got bills to pay. Again, this is based on the due date of your purchase invoices that you've entered into your system. So that's just a quick overview of the dashboard. Also within Xero, you can record your sales invoices and send out quotes. So just having a quick overview of sales invoices. From here, you can create new invoices or recurring invoices, and it's a very simple form for you to fill out. Just put in who you want to send the invoice to, for example, and then from the drop down you can choose which items you want to sell. So you can create this and customize this to your specific business type, but this is a demo company that we've got loaded up. So once you choose one of the items, it will pre-populate the line for you, which you can then customize to sort of change this quantity to 50, and it will update the sales invoice. You can change specific branding types as well. So if you've got different types of branding within your company, you can change your branding on your sales invoices. And then once you've approved that, I can demonstrate to you what that actual sales invoice will look like. So you can either send it out directly from Xero as a PDF attachment, or you can send it out in an email format as an online invoice. And you have the options as well to attach payment types onto your sales invoices. So if, for example, you've got a PayPal account in your business, you can link up your PayPal account to Xero, and it just gives your customers a more convenient way of paying your sales invoices. So once you've created an invoice, you can email it out, and the email can be customized, the actual template, and as you can see, it's picked up the figures from the invoice. And yeah, you can even mark it as sent, and it'll also show a read receipt once a customer has read that sales invoice, so you can tell they've seen it. And that's all part of the cash flow and credit control function of when you're chasing up money. As well as sending out sales invoices, you can send out quotes that suit your business type. This is just a quick sales overview to sort of like a cash flow function to sort of show you more breakdown who owes you what money and in what time frames. It also allows you to create bills to pay. So if you're in a business type where you receive invoices and they're due in 30 days time, for example, this is a good way to track, record, and monitor those suppliers who you owe money to. And just clicking through to here, you can click on awaiting payment, and it will show you all the suppliers who you currently owe money to and the due date down the side here. And again, you can customize this to change the sort type, the sort date, so you can see the most overdue ones more at the top. If you do purchase orders, you can also create purchase orders, and then once you receive those goods, you can then mark them off as been received, and then once you see the invoice, you can convert the purchase order into an invoice. So that's quite a good functionality. Again, there's a purchase overview, which is the same as the sales overview, and that gives you a bit of a credit control function in terms of when you are due to pay out money. At the top of each screen as well, there's normally a help section with some videos as well. If you do click around and you're not too sure on a certain section, there is help functionality along the top here, which you can also hide as well once you're used to the system. If you've got a lot of employees and you manage expense claims, then there is an expense claims function. However, I believe the expense claims function is additional within Xero. So I'm not sure it's activated on the demo at the moment. I'll just go back. No, I don't think the expense claims function is activated on the demo, but it allows you to create your employees to have user access to submit expense claims and record expense claims. It then pulls those expense claims in one area where you can then approve them and amend them if required, and also keep a track of which employees you owe money to as well. It's also functionality for recording your products and services which you sell or buy on a regular basis. What this enables you to do is, like before when we chose items from the sales invoice, you can choose fixed items, and you can create a cost and a sales price for those items. So it allows you to speed up the data entry for regular items which you're buying and selling. Under the accounting tab, you've got report functionality, and it's the usual reports you'd expect in an accounting software. So you've got your balance sheet, your profit and loss, age receivables reports, age payables, VAT returns, for example. And also there is a payroll module as well within Xero, which we'll touch upon later. But yes, just clicking into some of these reports, they are customizable. So once you are in the report, you can change the settings and filter on the data more. So you've got this report settings option, and you can add filters on here. So for example, on the report down here, we've got basket case, city limousines. If we were to filter just for city limousines, for example, we could add a filter with a contact, just city limousines, for example. So it does allow you to customize these reports within these settings. And each report has its own settings. So if you did want to show more columns within the report, you can choose to show more columns. So for example, as well as seeing who owes you money and in which time frame, you can also add a telephone number next to that contact to make it easier to pick up the phone to the client and chase that money for them. So that's sort of touching upon reports. Each of the accounts within Xero is fully customizable. So if you did have quite a complicated chart of accounts already in your software, it can be tailored for that. The actual VAT return process on Xero is that you can click on accounting and then VAT return, choose which period you're doing the VAT return for, and then down here you have the box 1 to 9 figures. If you want to see a breakdown of these figures, you can click on the VAT audit report. It will then show you a breakdown of each of these transactions that make up the box 1 to 9 figures. And from here, this is fully drill downable as well. So for example, if you weren't happy with there being VAT on this invoice, you can just click into this. It will show the invoice. You can then edit that invoice, which actually it's actually a bank transaction, this one. So we can edit this bank transaction against this invoice and change any VAT details we need to. We can also make wholesale changes. So for example, if we weren't happy with all the transactions in the sales account, we can completely change all the VAT settings for everything in the sales account to be 0 rated, for example. Or if you wanted to only change the VAT rate for just for Young Bros, for example. If we had 200 transactions sitting there from Young Bros, we could very easily change the VAT rates for all those transactions. And then going down, it shows you a breakdown of that. Once you're happy with the data in the VAT return, when it comes to submit the VAT return, it's very easy. It's just a case of clicking on this File VAT Now button. It will then prompt you to save the report. And then in the demo option, it doesn't actually allow you to file, but if you then click on this File and Publish button, you'd enter your Government Gateway ID and password. You'd hit the Submit button, and then it would then tell you whether that submission has been successful or not. And if you wanted to review those VAT returns later on, you can come to the Filed with HMRC tab. All your filed with HMRC VAT returns will be on here. And then you can click in to confirm whether they've been submitted or not. And normally when you submit via the, sorry, excuse me. Normally when you submit via the Government Gateway, it gives you a submission receipt ID. And on here, if you click into that VAT return, it will then tell you your submission receipt ID. As well as doing VAT returns, there's also the option to post manual journals, which is something that accountants and bookkeepers are probably more used to. If you're a business owner, then you probably won't need to do any journals, but it does have the option to do manual journals and recurring journals and reversing journals as well, and repeating ones. There's also functionality to have to run your payroll directly from Xero. And the advantage of running your payroll directly from within Xero is that when you go to submit your payroll, the cost and the liabilities are automatically submitted into the accounting software. Whereas if you have a standalone payroll system and an account system, the way to get your software into the system is that you'd have to post a manual journal. Either that or your costs and your liabilities would always be about a month behind. So it is GDPR compliant in that it will email out the pay slips to the employees as an encryption, and it also allows employees to keep timesheets. So you can provide your employees with access into Xero. They can then record their timesheet from the Xero app. You can then approve that timesheet, and then that timesheet will then form part of the payroll. So it's just a way of having a clean data flow from your employee to the person managing the payroll, to then straight to HMRC, and also tying up the accounts department as well. It's compliant for auto enrollment as well. So if you are with Nest, for example, there is direct integration with Xero and Nest. So once you've run your payroll, you can submit that auto enrollment submission directly to your workplace pension provider. Whereas If you didn't have that integration, you'd have to have it in a spreadsheet format and upload that data, whereas this gives you a very clean submission with all the data straight from your payroll system, so it minimises the amount of errors that you can do on there. There's also a full onboarding and auto-enrollment process for employees, so it helps you to produce those letters when you are onboarding clients onto it. When you are enrolling enrolling employees into auto enrollment, it will help you produce those letters to sort of notify employees of what their requirements are. So there's also this is an additional feature on Xero, but it's called projects. And so, for example, if you are a builder who does project management, this does allow you to keep a track of where you are with your projects, allocate costs and people's timesheets to projects. Not sure if this is going to work because it's quite a new feature in Xero and whether it's enabled on the demo. But for example, you can put in their budgets on your projects, and you can raise sales invoices against that project as well, so you can see whereabouts you are in the job, how much of the job you've invoiced, where your costs are on the job, and who's had how much time on a particular job. Doesn't look like it's loading at the moment, so I don't think it's available on the demo. But there is full information on the project system on the Xero website. Contacts is just a place where you can centrally hold all your contact information, and from here you can group them up. If you do raise a sales invoice to a contact, they will automatically become a customer. If you raise a bill to a contact, and they will automatically become a supplier. Again, if they're in the payroll system, they're an employee, so it has some sort of automatic grouping functionality. And then from here, it also shows you how much money each contact owes. You can add multiple people to these contacts. You can load in their VAT numbers, default VAT settings for the clients. You can load in specific payment terms for the customers, so what account they should go for as default. Yeah, specific VAT settings, company registration number. If they have signed up for a discount, then you can automatically assign that discount to them when you raise a sales invoice. And yeah. So that concludes our sort of overview of Xero, and just going to go back onto the slides now.